B1 family, welcome to Black Logic. And this evening, we're going to cover one of the most polarizing figure of our time, Donald John Trump. So, first of all, let's get into the thick of things. Let's get into the meat of things. What has Donald Trump really done for Black Americans? And I'm not talking about throwing a few rappers or a few athletes a pardon for headliners, something that people thought was very significant. No, it helped those rappers and it helped those athletes to get out of jail or be pardoned from their criminal activity or the alleged or the allegations that was brought into criminal activity. I'm talking about something substantial, transformative policies, policies that speak to the generational oppression that foundational Black Americans face each and every day. Is this the same president or this the same former president that state that he wants police officers, he wants law enforcement to have a more airtight, qualified immunity to almost make law enforcement untouchable, even through the face of police brutality, especially when it comes to Black Americans? Is this the same guy that we are now shifting? Oh, I'm not going to vote for Kamala because of 1, 2, 3 ABC. I agree. But now we're going to vote for a guy who has done nothing significantly for Black folk as a whole. When we think about policies that speak to the generation, to the generational oppression that we have faced, whether it be the wealth gap, the housing discrimination, mass incarceration, and police brutality, reparations for the debt this country owes us. Did we see any detailed policies under Trump addressing the things that we consider that's most important for our group? No, we have not. And all of these politicians have made claims in some form or fashion, have they not? They've made claims, family. But have they been significant for us? This is the question that I'm asking you guys because I believe it's imperative to ask. Now, I understand that a lot of you guys absolutely love Trump for whatever reason. A lot of people love Trump for whatever reason. And Trump loves to make these large promises. You heard it, I heard it. We're going to fix the economy. Jobs are coming back. We're building the wall. But here's the issue. When you dig deeper into his so-called policies, there's really nothing concrete on how these things will actually get done, kind of similar to the Democrats. And and I'm not going to jump the gun here because I saw something that Magic Johnson got in front of a Kamala Harris rally and was speaking kind of ill will towards Black men, talking about we need to get out and vote and we need to support Kamala Harris. Why? Why? Now, the white supremacists are upset at Caitlin Clark because she supported, what's the artist? Oh, Lord. The artist that is the girlfriend of Kelsey on the Kansas City Chiefs. She's one of the biggest stars, I guess, right now. But I forgot the lady's name. But Caitlin Clark championed her choice of president of supporting Kamala Harris. Now, all the white supremacists that were supporting her are now turning their back on Caitlin Clark. But when I'm talking about Magic Johnson, this bootlick, millionaire, billionaire, they always get these celebrities. They never really put anyone of substantial substance on stage to try to sway the Black vote. They don't do that. No. Magic Johnson urges Black men to vote for Kamala Harris, criticizes Trump for failing to live on promises. Well, first and foremost, I don't recall Donald Trump making any promises to black folk. I don't remember it. But back on Donald Trump, when you dig deeper into his so-called policies or the lack thereof, there's nothing concrete how these things will get done, how they will be funded. In his 2017 tax bill, it was a massive handout to the wealthiest people in America, while black people were left with pennies on the dollar. Now, of course, we had more jobs. There is some positive things. There are more jobs. People who own businesses got large tax breaks. But for the rest of us, we were scrapping for pennies. And those few pennies he gave, he made sure to take them right back with cuts to social programs like SNAP. You know, he made cuts to SNAP and housing assistance and Medicaid and the very programs that many black Americans rely on due to systematic economic disadvantages this country has put us in. His policies lack the detail on how they're even past Congress. The same as Kamala. We're dealing with two bumbling idiots, but I'll stay concentrated on Trump because I already went in on Kamala on Monday. I told you I have no love. And that's what the majority of Americans, I believe, should be. You should be apolitical. You shouldn't be walking around, I'm a Democrat, walking around, I'm a Republican, walking around independent. No, I'm a citizen of the United States of America, and whatever candidate does best for me, my family, and my community is the person I'm going to vote for. And if neither one does anything for you, then why waste your time? It's democracy as we know it. Lord, America has been here before you, and America will be here after you, I assure you. Because Donald Trump, he'll get up on stage and he'll hype up a crowd. He'll say a couple of deranged, insane, crazy things and shout, "We're going to do it." But nobody in the crowd, how we're going to do it? With a divided Congress, mind you. We have zero bipartisan support. You know, the worst things that liaticians, that's my word for them, liaticians do is state how they're so bipartisan, and in the same breath do these smear campaigns on the other party. You're so bipartisan that you do smear campaigns on the other party. The one question that all American citizens should be asking, and not putting on fanboy outfits, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, MAGA, all that crazy, that's silly. Show me the legislation. Show me the policy. Show me the pathway to how you're going to get these things done. Because if not, I'll wait. I'll wait. Show me how you're going to do that. Because here's kind of where it gets worse. Trump's stance on reparation is non-existent. You never really heard him even talk about it. When we asked about reparations, something central to the financial liberation of foundational Black Americans, Trump deflect, change the subject. He does all these sorts of things. He throws out very vague, meaningless statements about how nobody's done more for the Black community than him. And I always ask myself, when he makes these very bold, vague statements, how and what did you do? Really? The man couldn't even acknowledge centuries of economic. He couldn't even acknowledge hundreds of years of economic theft from Black Americans, let alone offer a legitimate plan to us. He's too busy catering to his wealthy buddies and corporations. Meanwhile, during his administration, you had the Department of Justice working overtime to roll back civil rights protection, even though we really don't benefit from those either, but we benefit a small piece, but rolling them back. These policies were designed to tackle discrimination in the workplace, housing and education, and all these different sectors of America. The Fair Housing Act, which was put in place to stop discrimination against Black Americans mostly during this time. But we understand all these immigrants are now over here benefit from the same policies that we've been fighting for hundreds of years. But that was gutted under his watch. See, that's the knife to the throat of foundational Black Americans trying to secure stable housing and build generation wealth. And we understand that Donald Trump, out of all the presidents, has been the most soft on white supremacy. Let's get something straight, family. A lot of Trump supporters hate to talk about this. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or whatever their creed, ethnic, or race may be. His soft stance on white supremacy. Y'all remember Charlottesville, right? Y'all remember Charlottesville when neo-Nazis marched with torches chanting, "Jews will not replace us." Okay. But we understand they say other egregious, erratic, chaotic, racist, discriminatory, bigotry things as well. They just don't, they may speak certain things as far as Jew, because to common folk, Jewish or being a Jew is just being part of religion. To Jewish people is being part of an ethnic. But for the rest of us, we still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But nonetheless, I digress. When one of those white supremacists killed Heather Heyer, I believe her name was Heyer, Heyer, I believe, Trump's response was that there were very fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides. This is some of the lunacy that comes out of his mouth. White supremacists are the problem, period. Again, white supremacists are the problem, period. Trump's refusal to outright condemn those groups send a loud and clear message. Black lives do not matter under his administration. He gave a wink and a nod to the same extremists who terrorized Black Americans for centuries. Then there's the fact that his base is crawling with white nationalists, because even though we can't connect, because Donald Trump never said it, that he's a part of this so-called Project 2025 that was created by the Heritage Foundation, but we see some remnant, some residue, some construction of Project 2025 in his Agenda 47. But we do see the white nationalist crew mostly in that MAGA community. Not stating that all MAGA is that. I'm not stating that. But then again, there's a lot of conspiracy theories and militia groups. Now, in 2020, when asked to they asked him to condemn the Proud Boys, which has been known to be a very violent far-right group, Trump told them to stand back and stand by. Stand by for what? Now, for the next attack on Black communities, Trump empowered these groups, and they've only grown bolder in the racism and violence. And if that doesn't disqualify him from leading the country, what will? I know, family, we don't have no valuable candidate. You look on Kamala Harris, she's a bumbling idiot, don't know what's going on. These vague policies, don't know how to pass them through Congress with a divided Congress body. I mean, and some people say, oh, we're just going to let democracy die. We're going to let the republic die, so we're just not going to vote. Why participate in a system where you can't win? Why participate in a system where they're giving you nothing? What's that quote? Don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Some of those lines. Okay, but why they don't ask the illegal immigrants that? Now, you know that Donald Trump also changed his stance on illegal immigration, right? First, every illegal immigrant was going to get deported. Every illegal immigrant was going to get deported. Now he's like, oh, we need people for the workforce, so we're only going to really deport the criminals. And I know what the American people are saying. Every person over here illegally is a criminal. But he stated, I'm paraphrasing, he stated, we're going to rid the country of the dangerous criminal. So he made a distinction. I don't know how. But again, that's where we are. And if we pivot to immigration for a second, now we have to understand FBAs have always been on the front lines of pushing for justice and equality, not just for our group, but for the entire country. That's why a lot of immigrants come here, regardless of the white supremacy that exists inside of this country. But Trump's immigration policies completely overlooks community needs. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, because we understand that the Democratic policies has invited and they have encouraged and they have incentivized illegal immigrants from all over the world to come into America. But the Republicans are the ones that are shipping them and flying them and drive them to majority black cities and towns. See, this is when you try to take one side of a white supremacist coin. Same coin, different sides. Republicans on one side, Democrats on the other. And the only thing that we can do is show power, right? How do you show power when you're powerless? How do you show power when you're powerless? You know why? When the wealthy and powerful come to you and ask you for your vote, and they do every single thing, like getting Magic Johnson, like getting T.I., like getting Plies, like getting Meg Thee Stallion, to encourage you guys to come out and vote. If Trump really cared about the economic well-being of Black Americans, he'll stop prioritizing these temporary fixes for other groups and focus on those of us who really built the country for free. And don't even get me started on how quiet he went when illegal immigrants started taking low-wage jobs in industries where Black Americans have historically worked. He was very quiet on that. He's out here rallying for jobs for Americans. But when it comes to FBAs, we're not even a blimp on his radar. Yeah, he invited a couple of people over to the White House, invite him over to Mar-a-Lago, his space in Florida, maybe not be there after this hurricane. But nonetheless, he may do those things, family. But if you don't see any significant change in the Black community, and again, the reason why I'm keeping Magic Johnson up here, because he acts as if Donald Trump made promises to Black folk. He didn't. But then you get on stage and you want Black folk to vote for Kamala Harris. What has Kamala Harris, what has Joe Biden promised to Black folk and actually fulfill those promises? And I know some people in the chat, some people in the comments later on are going to try to put up some policies and stuff that are not distinctive, that does not target the Black community. They're really talking about themselves. And when I'm looking at the polls, family, Kamala Harris is still up. Even though I keep hearing, depending on what news agency website you go to, Kamala Harris is still up. It doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter where I go. And don't forget, if you look at a heat map of the United States of America, of what presidential candidate has more electoral college votes, the majority of Americans are going to look at the map like, oh, Donald Trump is going to win. Donald Trump is just going to win. He has all the Midwestern states, but we have to understand that majority of people do not live in the Midwest. Majority of the people live on the coast. They live on the East Coast and West Coast. Let me see if I can get that map up here for you so you can see it. Hold on. This is where people live at, family, with the exception of Texas, of course. Bear with me. Every time I blow things up, it goes all the way back. Here we go. I want you to look at this. Now, just looking at the map, of course, the tan colors are the ones undecided. The red of Republicans, the Democrats are in blue. And when you look at this, you're like, oh, well, the majority of the map is red, so Donald Trump is going to win. No. Donald Trump is still down in the polls. And family, I'm apolitical, so I'm not taking a side here. I'm just letting you know that it's based upon the 270 electoral college votes. Who has the most out of 270? Or who reaches 270 first? And when we look at this, you're just kind of looking at the blue. But when I look at New York, they have 28. When I look at California, they have 54. Washington has 12. Virginia have 13. Maine has 11. New Jersey has 14. Maryland has 10. And then we look at all these red states: Idaho 4, Montana 4, North Dakota, South Dakota together is only 6. Wyoming 3, Utah 6, Oklahoma 7. The only large one is Texas with 40. But California beats out Texas with 54. That's about 14. So a lot of times when Americans are looking at these maps, they think automatically that the Republican is going to win. And that's not how it's done. See, we don't have to learn a lot about politics, but we have to learn quite a few. And then when we look at this too, and I know some people looking at Florida at 30, but Georgia's still undecided at 16, one of those swing states. You got Wisconsin at 10, Michigan at 15, PA at 19, Arizona at 11. And we have to look at historically, what are some of those swing states? And majority, where do those swing states usually reside? Or which side do they usually take upon? Then we talk about Trump's law and order mantra. Trump calls for law and order. And he wasn't about protecting Black lives from police violence, was he not? They were about empowering the police to brutalize us without accountability. He deployed the National Guard to tear gas peaceful Black Lives Matter protests while treating white domestic terrorists like they're Boy Scouts. Under Trump, the DOJ stepped in. They stopped the investigation policies when they had these cases about racism and abusive practices. Remember, what's the guy's name? Jeff Sessions. Y'all remember Jeff Sessions? His first attorney general was a segregationist who worked overtime to weaken civil rights protections. And what about the First Step Act? Some people got released from prison, and I'm glad for that if they were innocent, if they, did their time. But understand this, it didn't change the fundamental issue of mass incarceration. It was a Band-Aid, not a solution. It was a Band-Aid. We need policies that dismantle the prison industrial complex that disproportionately targets our people. Trump wasn't interested in that conversation either. No. And then again, I wasn't going to speak too much about Kamala because I didn't really bring up Donald Trump when I was speaking about Kamala Harris. But don't forget, Kamala Harris was the top in California. And there's tangible evidence and proof that she did lock up mothers. She backed away from that one very, very quickly. And family, I'm just, again, tracking the polls. This is from the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company. And this is updated today. And they're stating that Kamala has a 3% lead. And again, these are very subjective numbers because there's always a 2 to 3%. So they could possibly be tied. Depending on the news agency, I continue to see that Kamala Harris is up, okay? But people are still voting as we know it. Family, Trump hasn't really shown any real commitment to the advancements of FBAs. His policies are surface level at best, harmful at worst. And let's be clear, the next time you hear someone say, Trump's done more for Black people than any president, Ask them for the evidence. People just make these bold claims. And I've been teaching my son this, and I'm not saying it's the best practice to teach your son, but when people, his friends or anyone, make these bold claims, I say, son, just tell them, prove it. Prove it. Show me the evidence. Prove it. That's it. And then you have to have a certain level of intelligence to decipher fact from fiction. Like, they can give you some really bogus information. You have to show me evidence from verifiable sources. And what I mean by that is ask them for the bills. Ask them for the legislation. Look at the outcome. Was it signed into law? And majority of the time, family, they won't have it. And believe, Black Americans, we deserve a president who not only acknowledge our pain and our contributions, but actively works to repair the harm that has been done to us for generations. And so far, Donald Trump is not that president. Kamala Harris is not that president. And I don't think neither one will ever be, because even when asked about reparations for the second time, Kamala Harris said, yeah, I can entertain the reparations conversation. With a study, we really got to pass HR 40. That's what we get. So just like anything, family, I want to remind you guys of some of the things by Donald Trump.
What actions will you take to ensure that our jobs stay in America so we can continue to build the best cars in the world here in Michigan?
So pretty much as we've been saying, and what I want to do is I want to be able to look your business. Years ago in this area, I was honored as the Man of the Year. It was maybe 20 years ago. Oh, and the fake news heard about it. They said, it never happened. It never happened. And I didn't know who it was. It was a group that honored me as Man of the Year. The fakers back there, see the fake news? But they said, oh, and they looked at.
And by the way, he never, ever answered the question. Okay. He never, ever answered the question.
Ding, ding, ding. They've only got 17 seconds to figure this whole thing out, right? Boom. Okay. Missile launch. Pshing, boom. It's the most and we don't have it here. Ding, ding, ding. They've only got 17 seconds to figure this whole thing out, right? Boom. Once, and they corrected me everything I said practically. And I think 9 times or 11 times. And the audience was absolutely, they went crazy. Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it very well. I've become an expert.
Oh, my people, my.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. Yet they're offering people $750
for immediate needs.
For the worst, but for the worst hurricane that anybody's seen. But she shouldn't be there anyway. She should be, I would say, North Carolina is bad, is so bad. And
she was there today for 3 hours, I believe, Kamala Harris.
Yet they're offering people $750.
And the funny thing about that, that's actually coming from Fox News, that she corrected Donald Trump. So everybody's seeing the lunacy in Donald Trump's rhetoric. And family, again, I'm just sharing some things with you guys, just as well as I did with Kamala Harris.
I love the Mexican people in their spirit, but the country of Mexico is killing us. I want to build a wall. I'm going to build a wall. I want to build a wall. We need the wall.
And Mexico will pay for the wall.
But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
And it's really weak to call John McCain a loser because he was a.
I never called him. No, I don't.
That is outrageous. He's an American hero.
I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero. 5.5 years. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you. And then I watched this idiot Lindsey Graham on television today, and he calls me a jackass. He's a jackass. The man of the toupee. This is on the front page of the New York Times. I don't wear a toupee. I'll prove once and for all that it's mine, okay? Come. Is it mine? Look.
It is.
It is. Say it, please.
Yes, I believe it is.
Thank you. I have such respect for women. I cherish women.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account.
Only Rosie O'Donnell. I love the women that faint when I speak. Those are the ones that love me.
No, go ahead, Donald.
No, I'm a gentleman, Hillary. Go ahead. What I say is what I say. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
You brag that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. Every woman lied when they came forward to hurt.
So, family, this is the part of the broadcast where I'm going to put the invite link inside of the chat. If anybody wants to come up, ask any questions. I do have a question for anyone who comes up. You can join with or without your video. Okay, this is a time where you guys can call into the show. Excuse me, call into the broadcast, rather, not a show. Call into the broadcast and ask anything that you would like or make any comments. And I will, in turn, ask you guys a question initially because I have some things. I just want to see what people's heads are when it comes to this. So I'll let that reside. Again, click the link in the chat, family. If you want to come and make any comment, ask any questions, and we can have a discussion about it. I'll be here for another minute or two, okay? So I'll see you guys in the back channel, okay? I'll see you guys in the back channel. Okay.
My campaign. Believe me, she would not be my first choice. That I can tell.
All right. So COR.
Hello?
You're going to have to turn down your mic there.
Yeah, you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, brother. How you doing, man? How you doing, man?
I can hear you.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
All right. Yeah, me personally, I've been a lifelong Democrat, and I'm finally gonna make the jump to vote for Trump this year for this campaign.
Okay, let me okay, no problem. Let me ask you a question really quickly. What has Trump done to close the wealth gap for Black Americans?
Well, it's not. They have a thing called benign neglect since Nixon, man. The government not gonna do anything for Black Americans, man. I mean, y'all can just forget it. You know what I mean? That's why they haven't did anything with reparations. They give money and tangibles to other communities, but they don't do anything for the Black community, and they're not gonna do anything for the Black community. It said in the benign neglect letter to Nixon that that the Black people as a force were getting too powerful, and they would do anything to stop it. They didn't want another so-called Black Moses. You know, that's why I feel like they did away with Martin Luther King, God bless the dead. And the government is not going to give you anything. So, I mean, if you're voting for that, then it's just out the question.
So you're stating that you're voting for Donald Trump, correct?
Yes.
And you're stating that the government is not going to do anything for Black Americans. Are you aware of the things that the government has done for other groups?
Right.
Why do you
Well,
think?
I just explained to you they have a benign neglect against the Black population. I don't know.
I'm in agreement with you, brother. I'm just asking you, why do you think other groups have received support, benefits, and tangibles from the government other than Black Americans?
It could be a thing with the so-called the census, or it could be a thing of guilt that they feel if they give Blacks any kind of power, any kind of financial power, that they could overtake and get do back for what they did to us during Jim Crow and before Jim Crow and slavery. You know, it could be a thing about that, but for some reason, they don't want Black people to have any kind of prosperity, and it's just facts.
Have you ever thought that we continue to vote for the Democratic Party, or even to an extent, by the way, the Republican Party, and we're not showing unity and power in our vote where other groups have, and they don't have to give us anything? They haven't given us anything for our vote. Lyndon B. Johnson was tape recorded on the phone stating that if we pass this civil rights bill, and I'm paraphrasing, if we pass the civil rights bill, we'll have them niggas voting Democrat for the next 100 years. And we are still voting Democrat based upon the fear-mongering tactics that the Democrats have used based upon the Republican Party. Let me ask you one more thing.
Yes,
if
sir.
you believe that we become unified and organized, and if neither party is going to offer us any tangibles, do you believe they will eventually come to the table and negotiate?
Can I elaborate on the thing for a second?
Go ahead.
Before Lyndon Johnson signed, Lyndon Johnson had to sign that civil rights. It was mostly a Republican House and Senate that passed that bill, that brought that bill toward him. If he didn't it'd have been outlandish, it'd have been ludicrous. He had to sign it. I don't think he wanted to sign it. I don't really think he was for Black empowerment, Black people like that anyway. It was Republicans in the House and Senate that passed that bill. And the thing about that, he'll have the Democrats used to be called the Dixiecrats. They used to be the most racist group it was as far as politically. And the thing is, with the power of the vote, if we all come together as one, of course we could get tangibles for our vote if we would withhold the vote away from the Democrat. But that, what you said with Lyndon B. Johnson, that was the change. That's what brought all Black people to the Democrats. Right there with Lyndon B. Johnson signing that civil rights bill, and we haven't got off yet.
Absolutely. Historically, Black folk was Republicans prior to that civil rights bill.
Yes.
So what made you, so previously, before this administration, you were voting Democrat? Why is that with the knowledge that you have?
Just getting older. You know, I'm finally older, 44. And before while I was voting, I mean, raising a black household in the South. I mean, Florida.
You're from Georgia?
Florida. I mean, it's just Democrat. All Blacks, we all taught to vote Democrat. I was taught, oh, Democrats for the poor people, Republicans for the rich. And that's all I thought, you know what I mean? And then, you know, back when I think the first time I was really got into politics, I seen Bill Clinton playing the saxophone, and I thought Bill Clinton was the man. You know, I thought he was cool like that, but didn't know he was doing so many policies to hurt Black people, to hurt Black men. And, you know, me not knowing, being naive, I just thought it was always Democrat. I always voted Democrat.
Well, answer me this. Give me 3 reasons why you're voting for Donald Trump.
The first main reason I'm voting for Donald Trump is for the immigration, securing the border. I believe immigration right now is what's hurting the Black community. I really believe that. I really believe that it's taking resources away from us. And I believe it's really raising inflation right now, having all these immigrants over here. I had a trucking business, and right now I've been put out of business because of some of the things that's been going on with the immigration.
Okay, give me 2 more.
The second thing, under Trump, I feel like Trump is more equipped with dealing with the economy. As far as the tariffs and everything that he's put on these businesses for going out of the state, and going across country for more cheap labor, dealing with energy as far as drilling in the United States, things that can help raise the economy, infrastructure, things like that. It seems like to me like Kamala's just, oh, I give you this, I'll give you that, and that is pretty much socialism, and it's pretty much put more a debt into the society and raise inflation, because who's gonna pay for all this? I mean, she said, oh, I'll give you this, but you got to think who is going to pay for that, and it's mostly middle working class people like me.
Okay, I respect it. You got any more? Got one more for me?
Oh, and last, I mean, to me personally, I mean, he just shows strength, man. I mean, if Kamala go over there with King Jong-un and all those people laughing and cackling like that, I mean, go eat us up, man. I mean, it's just.
I respect your answers, brother. And I respect your contribution to the broadcast. Thank you very much for coming up.
All right.
Appreciate you. All right, family. Brother has some really good reasons, I believe. My thing is, I'm not trying to sway someone to vote for Kamala, sway someone to vote for Donald Trump. I believe that's your personal choice. But I'm going to stand on business. And this is not to slight or refute anything that people may have in reason why they may vote for one party or another. But if there's nothing at the dinner table, then why am I showing up for dinner? And with that being said, family, I'll leave you with that. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. Be one.